Chris Collins and HenricK, the wreck bring the chaos. Gaming news and industry talk, they got it all. Rage quitting, head banging, it's a metal bro. Mental meltdown, gaming in flames. Chris and HenricK bringing the thunderous rage. Video games and viral content. They're the kings, ripping through pixels, the ultimate gamer generation. The ultimate. Rave over, I'm feeling the rage. Chris Collins and HenricK on the stage, talking gaming news, industry that can't escape. We're reviewing video games, no need to debate. They bring the heat, spitting truth non-stop with fiery words. They're ready to drop, making waves in the world of video games. Collins and HenricK, they don't play no games. From console wars to DLC scams, they expose it all, making sure no one jams. The audience fired up, ready to explode. When rage quits on, you know it's a code. You know it's a code. When rage quits on, you know it's a code. Rage quits. Rage quits. I'm losing my mind. Chris and HenricK, they're fucking gaming all the time. Rage quits. Rage quits. It's a love-hate affair, but I keep coming back. Ain't nothing else to compare. Rage quit. It's a love-hate affair.
What's raging, gamers? Welcome to Rage Quit Video Game Talk Show. How you doing, HenricK the Wreck?
All right. You know what time it is, and I'm doing great because it is that time of the week.
Man, you were like real smooth with your words, baby. That's right. We got a lot to unpack on Rage Quit Video Game Talk Show. And for any of the new gamers joining us today, we just want to let you guys know, if you're not following me on my YouTube channel, go ahead and like, share, subscribe so you never miss a live show. The notification bell also helps. And your boy.
And if you go scan that QR code, you'll also be able to see my content on my YouTube channel, from memes to going over games that are really cool. Check it out. You'll like it.
Come on, you know the drill, party people. But man, we can't thank you guys enough wherever you're joining us, whether it's YouTube, Twitch, or X. But we always like to start off the show with a bang and show you guys a lot of viral content that's been circulating all across the globe. And man, oh man, watching a gamer play Minecraft on a gaming PC without a keyboard and mouse is like watching a chef cook a gourmet meal with only a spatula and a blowtorch. What he does next will make you question everything you thought you knew about a blocky survival game.
Minecraft Retail Edition.
Every time I look at that, I'm super puzzled. I mean, everybody gets really creative nowadays, whether you're on Twitch, Kick, or YouTube. But as we always like to do, Henrik, we got comments. And so we might as well jump into the first one right here. And this one says, if EA made Minecraft. Well, I was pretty quick to throw a stab at Electronic Arts. And yes,
it works.
I mean, it seems like everybody's mad at them this week. And we will dive into
Yeah.
that later on Patch Notes. Second comment we got here is the unemployed friend on a random Tuesday afternoon.
Why is that so true, though, huh?
But why am I seeing Queso on his Twitch streams recently playing that shopping cart simulator game? Why hasn't he not tried the bar scanner yet? I mean, I got questions for you, young man.
Hey, you're giving him an idea now.
You know,
He's gotta pay
in
you
a
for that.
sense. But then again, maybe I'm not onto it because this comment's saying some guy probably already finished Sekiro with this. So,
You're right.
you know, people, you know, they get really creative, and maybe the traditional sense of playing on consoles and PCs. And as we're going to be diving in later into the show, maybe it's the VR and the bar scanner after all.
Yeah,
Hey.
I mean, people make creative ways to play video games all the time.
All the time. And I know everybody's always trying to get really lucrative when it comes to their Twitch streams. And I know one of the more highly anticipated ones was over the weekend, the past weekend, and over 100,000 concurrent viewers tuned in over the weekend to watch streamer Kai Cenat play Elden Ring. And let me put it this way for gamers that have no idea how that went down. Watching Kai Cenat play Elden Ring is like witnessing a marathon runner attempting a sprint. And sure, it might be entertaining for some people, like minuscule people, but you can't help but wonder if they'll end up crawling across the finish line by the end of it. And I know he's still going through all the pain, all the heartache, but we're just going to take you down some of the beginnings of Kai Cenat's Twitch stream of Elden Ring.
You think you gonna take this shit away from me, nigga? Niggas gotta go through you, no, nigga. You gotta get through me! Now!
He took the phrase blood, sweat, and tears and took it literally with that game. He's actually crying
We're
because of so much
witnessing-
frustration.
We're witnessing a boy become a man
Yes.
in real life. Like, you ever wanted to see what like a real life Pokemon evolution looks like? You're witnessing it right now with Kai
Yep, pretty
Cenat
much.
playing Elden Ring on Twitch. But the first comment that we got around the video circulating with Kai Cenat is, I know he's never going to want to see this game again after this stream. I mean, the count's over 1,000 deaths right now, Henrik.
Yeah, until the DLC comes out, maybe he might not do it right away, but you know, people are gonna say, "When are you gonna do the DLC, man?
Hey, fair enough.
You didn't finish it."
At this pace, Kai Cenat will take 53 days to finish Elden Ring. What's the over-under on that? I'm shocked, you know, Sports Center with their ESPN bets, you know, going on. Why don't they got an over-under for this? What are you feeling? Is it going to take more than 53 days, Henrik?
I mean, that sounds about right. It's not
Yeah.
a long game if you know what you're doing, but if you don't really know what you're doing, it's gonna take a while.
Hey, we better start calling the bookie now because we got no chance in hell in gambling. We're in the state of California. The next one is this is Kai Cenat trying to beat Elden Ring, and wow, that's a really talented dog. So like,
Yeah.
you know, maybe, you know, Kai, you know, you're developing as a gamer. That's why I'm always surprised. It's like you gotta give that guy kudos. It's like, how the hell did you get so popular on Twitch, having literally like the worst gaming skills. Just gotta call it how it is. But
It's his personality. It's all that's about.
that's true too. But it's not just Kai Cenat. Sometimes you could be known for playing video games online. And I know Jinxie and Tim the Tapman had a 1-versus-1 matchup in Rainbow Six, and that was like watching a showdown between two overconfident squirrels. One keeps forgetting where they hide their nuts, and the other keeps accidentally dropping them off the map. And if you don't know what I mean by that, it definitely felt like one streamer had the advantage over the other. I'm pretty sure some of you gamers are going to figure that out real quickly.
Op 4 eliminated all friendlies.
There's no.
No way that worked. No way, no way. No.
Bro is flabbergasted.
It happens to the best of us. And, that's the one awesome lesson about video games. You got to stay humble.
Yeah.
Sometimes you're going to get cooked. And, when you're as popular as Tim the Tapman, yeah, you're going to get finessed and blasted all over the online web. But hey, the comments that we got here around these viral clips is, it's bright red, dude, bright red with the scope on it. I kind of sort of miss that too in a sense. So like, I'll give Tim the Tapman, some slack. What do you think?
I mean, yeah, you just gotta, be very observant, and sometimes when you're on the spot, you kind of lose some of your observance.
Oh, so you're saying like his eye was maybe twitching a little bit. Maybe he just, maybe
a little bit.
Maybe his color, whatever. Yeah. The OG move.
His hands were shaking.
His hands were shaking. Palms were sweating. But I thought we had the rest in peace of Slim Shady. That's now more over with. Moving on. The next one we got here is Tim's brother, Jim the Scatman. And there's no actual way. Yes, it happens. Some of the best streamers out there will get finessed in time. Maybe you should just stick to Call of Duty after all, Tim the Tapman.
Yeah,
or is it going to be X-Deviant? What's next? I don't know. You, the gamers, definitely got to let us know what's good, because the best part about Rage Quit Video Game Talk Show is, what is it, HenricK? You can join the conversation, right?
Yeah. Get involved in the live chat and be featured on air, because we want to hear from you. We want to actually have a bit of a conversation, not with just the two of us, but with our audience as well. So
exactly.
We'll highlight your comment if it is actually
Look at the beautiful
relevant.
lower third. We got this beautiful lower third here. You guys comment whether you're on X, Twitch, or YouTube. We will showcase you live on air. And just know, if I'm flabbergasted by your take, I'm going to roast you live on air. So be warned, okay?
And roast Chris, because if he says something that is just out of pocket, you have my permission to roast Chris about
your permission. Okay,
yeah.
fine. Okay, yeah, we'll see. Yeah, I don't need your permission for anybody to roast me or not, HenricK. But hey, I'm feeling the energy. The adrenaline's high. Are you ready to rock and roll, HenricK?
Absolutely. And you know what time it is? It's time to talk about a game and, maybe rage about it a little bit.
Yeah, we got to start raging about it, baby. So come on, let's get the show on the roll, baby. Woo.
Hey everyone, this is Pause or Repeat. Here we figure out whether a game is really worth your time and money. Today's game is Hades 2. The highly anticipated sequel to the first Hades, Hades 2, just recently released into early access. As such, the game isn't fully completed yet, but is most of the way there as is. But keeping that in mind, let's look at how the sequel stacks up to the original, starting with the gameplay. The gameplay of Hades 2 is right away familiar to those who have played the first game. It's still a roguelike where you'll progressively get stronger, as will your enemies. Olympian god boons make a return as well, so expect those. It is not required to have played the first one, however, as the combat is a little different anyway. Starting off, you begin with a staff as your weapon of choice, with more to unlock as you go. The staff has a good bit of range on it, but there's also an added combat mechanic centered around mana usage. You have a set amount of of mana per room, and you can expend it via charging up any of your abilities. Charged up abilities do extra damage, and quite a bit at that, but you will need to manage your usage to not become reliant on it due to it being a limited resource. However, this alone makes the gameplay feel different from that of the first game. Other upgrades include progressing Arcana cards, which are direct upgrades to your character, or building out the home base of the Crossroads. So all in all, very similar to the first game, albeit different and not more of exactly the same. But how about the story? The story of Hades 2, just like the gameplay, doesn't require you to have played the first game. Instead of playing as Zagreus, you take control of Melinoe, sister of Zagreus and princess of the underworld. Kronos, the Titan of Time, has taken over control of the underworld and imprisoned Hades. Melinoe, trained by the head witch Hecate, is now on a mission to stop Kronos and save the underworld. Will it be as simple as that? Or are there other mysteries to uncover? But now the question still stands. Pause or repeat.
Man, another early access being spotlighted on pause or repeat.
How do I know you were
access?
about to start off with that? Okay, so anybody that didn't see last week's show, we talked about Manor Lords, and yes, I've been kind of a hater over this whole concept or terminology of early access games. I feel like we're getting totally out of control with it because it's like playing the beta version of Hades 2, HenricK, is like, DICE Studios with Battlefield still trying to figure out whether it's in pre-alpha, post-alpha, or just stuck in a never-ending loop of patch notes coming soon, or hey, here's a free map, or please buy our season pass.
Hey, you know what, Chris?
Flag.
That's EA, and you know what EA stands for as well? Early access.
Oh!
This game, being in early access, it kind of feels almost completed.
How have I not
heard
that
the
one?
difference here?
That is funny, because that is such a true point, because, even though Hades 2 is labeling itself as an early access game, it's more stable than most AAA releases at launch.
Yeah, which is a good move by them because, it has a lot of hype around it.
Yeah.
The first game was a hit, and everyone's been looking at this game, anticipating the launch of the early access, not even the full launch of the full release, just the early access. And I think that they pretty much delivered on everything that the majority of people wanted.
Why is it so hard to just call it a live service single player game? Like, we already know that the studio is not going to make it a multiplayer. They've already debunked that already. I just don't understand why we just abuse the word early access game. But
I'll
anyways,
tell you why they don't want to say live service, because when you say it's live service,
then it gets
kind of
befuddled with
expecting something different. You're kind of expecting like a battle pass or
Suicide Squad.
Shop. Yeah, it's something like that,
Yeah, because everything's correlated.
It's not really
badly.
live service in that sense.
Oh, gotcha. So you want to be
coming.
You want to be team early access.
Exactly.
Instead. But with Hades 2, it makes you feel like you're watching Extreme Makeover Home Edition with Ty Pennington. I don't know if anybody remembers that show back in the day on ABC. Except the all new paint and furniture. They're swapping out all the old weapons, boons, and all the pieces from the previous game, replacing a lot of the old stale snacks for fresh and juicy goods in the pantry. It is a lot of fun. What do you think, HenricK?
No, yeah, and I think it's really awesome that, they could have easily done the easy route and just copied what made the first game great and not really improved on it or even tried to. And with this one, they took the foundation of the first game's combat and storytelling, and they just tried things here and there to make it a little bit different. And I think actually they make it better than the first game to just jump into and, have fun actually destroying these high elite monsters. For example, you can use mana abilities to be able to high hit damage on these strong enemies. And that's something that the first game kind of lacked at the beginning because you weren't very powerful at the start. Now, in contrast, though, the game does get a bit hard later on, more so than
especially the finale
does.
boss, but we don't want to spoil too much for anybody.
Yeah.
But doesn't this game feel like a great example about some people really, really hoping for a follow-up with Baldur's Gate 3, and you notice with the studio how they just didn't want to be forced into making a follow-up if they didn't have to. This was a studio that's never done sequels ever in the eternity of their space, and they really wanted to pursue this task, and you can feel that energy as you're playing this game in this early access twist, because I gotta say, some of the cooler things is like the Testament of the Night, right? It's very similar to the original with the pack of punishment, but instead of just making you suffer and feeling like as if Spider-Man 2 didn't really have anything to offer other than just handing you a participation trophy, this version actually cranks up the difficulty with rewards, making it that much more fulfilling.
Yeah, and I think the passion, like you were saying, really does show in things like that for them wanting to make a sequel. And that's really important when it comes down to it, because yeah, the stockholders or whoever's funding you could say, "Hey, we need a sequel." But if you don't really want to do a sequel, you don't have the creative energy to put towards a sequel, it might not feel like it's really got a lot of passion behind it. But this one,
Yeah.
you could tell they really did want to make a sequel and want to, still ride on that hype of the first game a bit as well, but make it different and more exciting and enjoyable. And this is a rare
Yeah.
chance for them to really ride the big hype that is behind them.
But also at the same time, HenricK, I'm gonna put it in the terminology that I heard this morning on First Take with Kendrick Perkins. I got to get on their ass a little bit, just like how your Gene back pocket. We got to get on to them because there's some things you got to make fun of a little bit with Hades 2 when it comes to the early access. Because yes, it does give off this like strong early access vibe, especially when like you got characters missing or even some of them going nameless. I mean, seriously, you couldn't come up with any kind of style of generic name. Placeholder is all that you can offer us.
Hey, at least they're saying that it's early access and that things are to come, rather than just put that in the game and not say anything.
I just thought that
I
was
can
the
appreciate
honest
that
thing
at
ever.
least, because
That's true.
there's companies out there that would do that. That would just leave it as is and be like, we'll get to it later, but not say anything.
That's
not
a
give
good
the
point.
expectation.
Because even when you beat it during its first run, they do promise you at the end of the game that a new region to explore is going to be coming out in the future. And yes, I know that is just as annoying like the ending of Diablo 4, but at least you're not having to buy an expansion to finish the story.
Yeah, it's also not Diablo 4 where, you're already paying $60-$70
Exactly.
for the game itself. And then it's throwing a bunch of live service elements at you like, hey, do you want to buy a horse that's about as much as the game? Actually, sorry, scratch that. More than the game itself.
More than the game. I mean, yeah, it's so true. But in this isometric video game, it's really, really cool. I think a lot of gamers are going to have a lot of fun playing as the immortal princess of the underworld. And I'm going to say it right now. This is a definite repeat. I cannot wait to play the full potential or full release or whatever we're going to call it now in the year 2024. But yes, it definitely should be on everybody's radar. Hades 2 is a must play. What about you, HenricK the Wreck?
Well, the first game was the first game that I put on my Steam Deck when I got my Steam Deck initially. And this one, no exception. The second I got it, I actually installed it on my Steam Deck before I installed it on my computer.
Not on the big screen?
This is definitely something that I'm going to be playing on the go. It's one of those games that you really can just hop in and out, and
fair enough.
There's going to be a lot of replayability to it. So for me as well, it's a repeat.
It's a repeat. Hey, so you heard it from both Chris Collins and your boy, HenricK the Wreck. But man, this is Rage Quit Video Game Talk Show after all, and we got a lot more here on this live show. So stick around. Are you ready to rock and roll, HenricK the Wreck?
Oh yeah, it's time to rage about some topics.
Oh man, let's get it, baby. Woo! And you know what's so funny, HenricK? I just realized I forgot to upload the patch notes.
Oh no,
sequence. That is freaking hilarious. That is a first on Rage Quit Video Game Talk Show. But hey, that doesn't stop the live show. That is the beauty of edits.
We can simulate it.
So
yeah, right. Transition.
So we'll just act like nothing happened. But hey, let's get the show on a roll. So what's good, listeners? Welcome to Patch Notes, where my co-host HenricK the Wreck and I discuss gaming news industry talk, and so much more. Let's get it. Electronic Arts is considering putting ads inside its games for extra cash. Soon you might see a Coke ad in the middle of your intense Battlefield battle, or perhaps a McDonald's banner while trying to save the Galactic in a Mass Effect, or a Big Mac advertisement in Madden. And if you don't know what we're talking about, man, we have an earnings call from the wonderful people at GameSpot, which gave us this quote from the EA CEO. We'll be very thoughtful as we move into that. And, you know, just to let people know, this isn't the first time they've kind of dived into this. But before we even delve even further into this outrage that clearly gamers are upset about, they wasted no time responding to EA considering in-game ads with the following. So the first comment that we got here is, after much thought, we've heard your concerns and decided to do it anyways.
Very typical of EA, you know. Yeah, we could listen to the fans, but we have our own plans.
You guys didn't realize it was an early access. Next
A good
one
right there.
If I trust any company to be thoughtful and considerate as they put ads in video games, it's EA. You know?
Yeah. They are really at the forefront of doing things that make people upset.
Yeah, they're willing to die by the sword, and then everybody else will
Exactly.
follow. The next one here is EA Sports. It's in the games.
Money.
Hey, well, if people are going to keep talking about how Madden's like the same shit over and over and over again for $70 every year, what if they start turning it into this quote-unquote season pass? Maybe they do need to get the in-game ad support to help leverage the cost on you, the consumer. Maybe. I'm just throwing this out. Might be a cool idea, but nah, they're never going to sell it under 70.
Did we
Wishful
not just
thinking.
talk about, you know, putting more cost on the gamer in regards to the
I know,
shipping
damn it,
thing?
Henrik. I
But
don't
come
want to
on.
be. No, I know. Can someone just wish? Can we just have a dream? I don't think you guys are being fair or really understanding what EA is doing here with the in-game ad placement. EA's intent is to provide players with a sense of pride and accomplishment by serving them ads. Targeted ads. Don't be acting like these aren't going to be for our benefit. I mean, you would think that, yeah, there's going to probably be some silly shit like that. Like, you know, you see Apex Legends used to be on a Monster Energy can, and who knows, maybe you see a QR code that says, hey, stop by at my ad, get a free green slime green skin. I don't know. Please don't do that. Next comment is, of course they are, because EA is never satisfied until they have as much money as possible. FEA. And last, I don't pay money to be advertised to. Yes, I can see why that could be the massive problem, especially when you're spending, you know, $70 for a game, Henrik. I mean, why would EA want to add in-game ads? Are they hoping that players will get so frustrated with the ads that they accidentally click and buy the ad-free DLC for $19.99?
Well, I mean, I think the enragement of people in this topic is just, you know, everything wants to just send ads to you nowadays, whether it be your Netflix or your Hulu or even a mobile app on your phone.
I was gonna say,
Everything just
have
has
you
ads on
done
it.
that before? I mean, I've been pretty tempted before. Like, I've never done it, but you know, I play like that pixel golf game, and sometimes it's like, can I just shoot my 18-course hole in peace on my phone
Yeah.
without being blown up like every 5 strokes? Like, please.
Yeah, but it's really going to also depend on what they mean by adding ads to games, because if it is
Yeah.
just a banner at the bottom or a little splash screen, like that's not that
Uh-oh,
bad when it
Henrik.
comes down to it. But I still don't agree with them putting it there. Don't get me wrong on that.
Well,
But
let's take a
if
trip
it
back in
were
time.
like what's that?
No, I was like, well, you're kind of getting to that point, right? I mean, we have an image that we could showcase to people. We didn't want to
That's
show the
true.
whole video because
True.
there's no point of that, but we might as well throw it up right now. This was like one of the biggest dramas back then. EA released UFC 4, and I mean, I swear, it was like 2 or 3 seconds, Henrik. You know, to be fair, it wasn't like blasted in your face for like 10 or 15 seconds, but this was enough to cause so much outrage almost nearly 4 years ago that people were so flabbergasted about. But this was something that I had no idea about, Henrik, and I think you should lead this because I didn't believe this was real. I was like, wait, what?
Mhm.
Like, I didn't play this game, and what was it?
Burnout Paradise.
Yeah, and I mean, you would think that this is where I probably have a big problem with, because then you don't want to be driving around Los Santos with like "Make America Great Again" or like Joe Biden with like "Stop the Malarkey." Like nobody wants to see that. Like the best part about video games is it's a way to escape from reality. And the last thing I want is like campaign ads showing up in my video games. And
already annoying enough to have that at the beginning of YouTube videos, or
true.
during campaign season. All you ever see in the in-betweens of TV series is a campaign ad. Doesn't matter whose side it is. It's kind of annoying.
Even if it's a banner that you're driving by in a car, it's just like there's feels like, I don't know. I don't want nobody. I'm never for like restrictions, but that just feels wrong in all levels. And like I think people need to also understand too is like I understand there's a lot of outrage about the idea of in-game advertising, but this is like nothing new. In-game ads have been in video games for a very, very long time, and it dates back all the way to 1978. There was a game by Adventureland. It was first recorded as, something that was baked into the video game. But what I thought was a little bit more interesting, HenricK, was in 1983, Anheuser-Busch sponsored the arcade game Tapper, which featured a giant Budweiser logo right in the game and was designed for bars. Clearly that became a problem. And eventually within the year got replaced with root beer the following year, because they wanted to place it in arcades for minors to play, because clearly people at the bar were like, I'm playing some pool and darts. Who are these lame kids playing this virtual retro futuristic video game box?
Yeah, it's just people don't like the idea of ads. I think even back in the 80s, people didn't like the idea of ads necessarily, because all it is they're trying to sell more things to you, and maybe I don't want to buy what you're trying to sell me, because I already got what I need. I bought this game. It was, however much I paid for the game. Do you really need to shove more things at me? I don't think so.
But, I've also seen on Reddit threads, which I thought was interesting enough to bring up on the show today, because, some people even pointed out that, EA's Need for Speed Underground 2 back in 2004 also had in-game ads placed on billboards all over the open world. And like some people online were trying to argue that that was EA's way of trying to bring some realism into the game. I was arguing about a way to escape. Does that kind of defend, or is that like hypocritical, or is that,
you can still do realism without actual ads. You can do faked ads, kind of
like
in
what
the
we've
spirit
been
of the
seeing,
game.
like with Grand Theft Auto. I know everybody's been hyped with certain, 1950s posters and Fallout, because everybody's playing that game all over again. But yeah, I mean, those are all good points, but that's why we want to hear from you gamers. How are you guys vibing with this? Are you guys upset that EA is considering bringing in-game ads to your video games, or you could just care less? If the game's good, the game's good, and you're going to keep playing it. Let us know what's good. But let's move on to the next topic of conversation, HenricK, because this one is a juicy one.
Yeah, NetEase is under fire for their creator contract for Marvel Rivals, aiming to squash negativity like an overpowered superhero in their Overwatch clone. Apparently, they mistook honest reviews for supervillain sabotage.
Yeah.
But listen to streamer Siegel break down the controversy, because we do have that clip.
What the fuck they are signing and they're not. Literally has a clause. We've confirmed now with 5 people where it says engaging in malicious comparisons with competitors or belittling the gameplay or providing subjective negative reviews of the game. People have signed off what are basically sponsored or hashtag ad streams, and people are just signing this without reading it just to get a game key.
The backlash towards NetEase sparked a flurry of gamer responses online with the following comments.
Oh, yes, it did, HenricK the Wreck. Let's go into the first comment. I find it amusing they included the word satirical in there just to cover their bases from someone doing the opposite and just sarcastically praising it. So then what if someone just say anything at all but does a video with clips showing how stupid stuff might be, or maybe just doing funny faces whenever a bad stuff is happening without saying anything, since it's just making comments, I could easily see some funny content, coming from this and just having the Curb theme playing. Or Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Next comment we got here is, oh, wait. I got to pretend like I'm one of the content creators right now. I've been playing Marvel Rivals recently. I was given access but forced to sign something saying I cannot give it a negative review to do so. Therefore, I will only say the good things from my experience playing. This is the end of my review of Marvel Rivals. Please like and subscribe.
Yeah, there you go. I think it's really funny in a way because yeah, no one reads everything. Well, people do read things if they are important.
Oh,
But
stop it.
people don't
It's
read
always
things
like
like EULA.
Stop it, HenricK. You do not read everything. When you get those crazy terms after jumping on an EA sports game after every 2 months, you think, no one's reading that. I'm like,
Well, that's what I'm saying. No one reads that, but like
have
I
you
would
no-
read a
have you-
contract for like my banking or
But HenricK,
something.
have you noticed the scroll speed has started to slow down recently? What happened to just jumping all the way to the bottom? They're like now trying to what? Is this like a case to be proven in court because everybody's going after Epic Games and their microtransactions? What the hell? Protest, people. Speed up the scroll speed. Next one that we got here is NetEase is one of the scummiest Chinese companies in gaming, and this style of contract is super standard for gacha and other Asian games like this. I didn't know NetEase Studios was Gacha Studios.
Well, I think they're just saying that, a lot of mobile games tend to be gotcha games where you got to roll for characters and there's a bunch of chance involved, things like that. And there's just that stigma around mobile games. And NetEase is known for mobile games first and foremost.
Yeah, big time. The next comment we got here is watching the Discord around Rivals has been pretty hilarious, to be honest. Lots of people toting it as, quote, that game that will replace Overwatch and its horrible monetization, end quote, completely glossing over the fact that it's NetEase, laughing out loud. And then that's more of a personal thing, but the game looks way less precise and crisp than Overwatch. 99% of the abilities are either melee or huge AoEs. It's really just throwing random BS in the enemy's direction. Is that a fair assessment, HenricK?
Yeah, it's hard to hit the same quality of Overwatch because they've got really, really talented people making those games at Blizzard all polished and everything as much as they can be and have character too. Like if you look at all the animations of the first person view of every Overwatch character, there's a lot of detail. And that's
Yeah,
the first person. So like they have a certain standard that they're trying to hit. And yeah, this game hasn't hit it. I'll say that.
There's like a two-part to this. It also feels like a dumbass comment, but it also seems like a comment that's like on point as well at the same time. So I'm giving it about 50-50 because it's like the guy's like 99% of the abilities are either melee. No shit, Sherlock. What are most of the people in Marvel? Do you think they're running around with guns? No,
Yeah,
it's only
yeah,
the Punisher. So like, come on. Of course it's
That's
going to be
the-
mostly
the whole
magic
thing
and
that
melee.
people were upset about Suicide Squad with as well. It was like you have these cool characters that have cool abilities that are, kind of melee focused maybe, and then
Yeah.
you give them guns.
Yes, exactly. But then the other point that I guess I'll agree with them is that the top part where it's like, yeah, this is going to be like another overgloss Overwatch with horrible monetization. Yeah, absolutely. But the kids are going to buy it because they can relate to it a little bit more than Overwatch characters. It's in comics, movies,
True, yeah.
podcast. Jesus, it's crazy. Anyways, let's keep it moving. Just a note, it's illegal in the United States to give a review where you endorse a product that you don't actually enjoy. That's incredibly hard to enforce, but it does mean if you agreed to this, it may be valid, and your only option is to pretty much say nothing about the game. If you're an influencer is playing and quiet about their thoughts on the game, interpret it that as you will. So as like some people have been suggesting, satirical, how can you really prove that in court? We get you, fam. And last, biggest red flag ever. Come test our game, but you can only say good things about it. That's disgusting. And it says a lot about how confident they are in the game and if they have to pull this BS. But I mean, there's not everybody that signed these content creator contracts. Like, you could still be the lucky one to get that access code and be able to still play the game. And you could jump on Twitter or X or whatever, or Meta, whatever we're calling it nowadays, and you can be eating your hot Cheetos, smacking your keys on the keyboard, talking crap, and there's going to be no repercussions coming your way. So it does kind of feel odd, Henrik, because maybe it is because of this, positive, friendly reviews, but majority of the stuff that I've been seeing, a lot of people have been hyped. What do you think about all this?
Well, I mean, yeah, the big thing as to why this is such a huge argument in the first place, I think, is because people really, really like Overwatch and would like it to be in a better place than it is. And it's just how people get really excited and angry and frustrated at things that could be better than they are. And then when a game like this comes around that feels like how they're handling it is, the way that Overwatch should be handling their gaming, they want to look at that and say, hey, that's what we want. But then when something like this comes out, they're like, oh no, the thing that I liked is bad.
But we got to show this real quickly, because I thought this was pretty intriguing, because, a lot of people wondering, like, okay, we're getting responses back from NetEase, and, they wrote back, to these creators via email claiming the terms inside the documents are now inappropriate and misleading terms. I mean, you can clearly see it in the very first sentence. We are aware that there are inappropriate, misleading terms in the commitment regarding sharing non-disparagement content. We sincerely apologize for the miscommunication and your unpleasant experiences. Misleading terms? I'm pretty sure it was pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
So it's just amazing how they different companies try to dabble with different approaches. And, I had a lot of anticipation with this game moving forward. And none of the gameplay looks horrible to me. I just don't know why a lot of studios get into these fear factors when, sometimes, when you do this kind of shit, majority of people are going to be talking about this instead of focusing on how great the beta version looks so far with Marvel Rivals. So pretty wild.
That's the unfortunate part, because the game is actually pretty fun. And this is me having played the game for a good amount of time, and I didn't sign anything, disclaimer right there. I didn't sign anything saying I couldn't say anything negative.
Wait. HenricK, it's okay. You can, it's just between you and I, blink twice if you're being held hostage. Okay.
Oh yeah, but yeah, the game is fun. It's not exactly like Overwatch, but it has a real fun factor to it, and it's not perfect. It's got bugs. It's got characters that feel a bit overpowered compared to others, and some that feel kind of underpowered actually, and should be buffed a little bit. So the balance is kind of all over the place.
Yeah, I have a feeling this is going to be like one of the bigger, better live service multiplayer games in a long time.
That's the
especially
thing
with
that
Guardians
I'm
of the Galaxy coming, X-Men.
That's the thing I'm actually concerned about is, will it stick? Or will it be one of those flavor of the month type of games where when it has its release, it comes out, people play for a good bit of time, and then eventually it dies off and the company says, we're going to step away. It's not worth keeping this up anymore.
Well, I think that's a great way to end this topic and kind of just ponder on that. Savor the moment, gamers. Like, what do you think? Like, is HenricK kind of onto something? Let us know what's good. But let's jump in, because this is a very, very intriguing one that HenricK the Wreck and I, we've been kind of telling people this is going to be happening for quite some time if you've been subscribing to Rage Quit Video Game Talk Show. So let's break it down. Xbox President Sarah Bond announced Microsoft's new Xbox mobile game store set to launch in July, proving once and for all that when life gives you apples and Googles, sometimes you just have to make your own Microsoft fruit salad. And we will break down that silly dad joke in a second. But let's make sure we hear from Sarah Bond herself.
Launching our mobile store experience. We're going to start actually by bringing our own first-party portfolio to that. So you're going to see games like Candy Crush show up in that experience, games like Minecraft. And then we're going to extend that capability to partners so that they can also take advantage of it and have a true cross-platform gaming-centric mobile experience. We're going to start on the web. And we're doing that because that really allows us to have it be an experience that's accessible across all devices, all countries, no matter what, independent of the policies of, closed ecosystem stores. And then we're going to extend from there.
Sarah-
Yes. Sorry. Yes.
No,
the
go
game
for it.
I've been wanting to play so much. Candy Crush.
Yeah. But come on, Henrik, you got to be fair. You got to give it some time. It's not going to be so lucrative after all. And I think there's a little bit of a hidden, ordeals going down when it comes to this whole thing coming into fruition. But Sarah Bonds, speaking on the future of Xbox, created a wave of comments from gamers with the following. So let's go ahead and read the first comment that we got here live on Rage Quit. Xbox clarifying that initially the store will start with discounts on in-game items and the like, rather than full games, apps, though the latter remains the ultimate goal. So that is pretty funny. The content's like Candy Crush, Minecraft, you're hearing Call of Duty, Warzone, mobile, and etc. Some of the bigger things that they're saying is that we don't really have this ecosystem as of yet to bring all the rewards from your mobile and your console all to one system. That's what they're trying to create.
Well, also, if they have their own store to charge you through, they don't have to pay Google or Apple anything.
Exactly. And that's why they need to create their Microsoft fruit salad. Yummy, yummy. Okay, no more wiggles.
Yummy,
Going
yummy.
on. Wiggle on into the next comment. To summarize my timeline, not even Xbox employees like where Xbox is heading. Sarah Bond gives a rehearsal, generic, nothing answer to address the studio closures, but rejoice Xbox fans, mobile app store, coming in July. It's clear they don't care anymore. Just jump ship.
I mean, that does say something, though, considering they're at the forefront of knowing what's going on.
Well, clearly there's another person that literally no one asked for a mobile store. Oh, wait, maybe one person, Tim Sweeney. And if you're not familiar with Tim, Mr. Tim is the man behind the scenes, like in Emerald City in Wicked, that runs Epic Game Store. So, yes, he is definitely on the side with Xbox going, this is ridiculous. We need to branch away from the Google App Store and Apple as well. Next, so glad we could lose Tango Gameworks for mobile games. I mean, that was kind of interesting, especially with like Alpha Games leaving too. Like they were centric to mobile games, and then now they're embracing it. You would have thought they would have kept their little Mighty Doom characters, and now that game was pretty whack.
I guess not enough people were asking for it.
No, that game was very, very whack. It needed to go. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Great people that work there, but it's just, just go work on another great project. With announcements like this, it's no wonder why no one is buying into Game Pass. I don't know if that's a fair assessment. I don't know. What do you think, Henrik?
Well, Game Pass definitely does make them some bit of money, I'd say, but it does also probably promote killing off smaller things that they own. I mean,
well,
think
the
about
Game
it.
Pass could definitely branch out into the mobile world, and you can start getting
That's
even
true.
way more games. Then, yeah, it's going to get a bit more
at
exciting.
At the same time, if you're only limiting people to spending a set amount of money, say $20 per month, how much of that is spread beyond just the bigger titles on your Game Pass?
Yeah, that's excellent point. And last, close a bunch of studios, launch its own mobile game. Yeah, that will sell very well. So, clearly people are outraged by the situation, Henrik. And I'm trying to figure out whether this is an Xbox or a Microsoft gaming move, because it's like the best example of this, Henrik, is it's like trying to separate like two magnets, right? They're so closely connected, you just end up flipping them back and forth and hoping for the best.
Yeah, it probably does come from Microsoft being that they're probably way above Xbox in terms of directive, but I don't know. Maybe it's not the move, especially right after. Yeah, like some of those comments were saying. After
So you're saying we should have never
studios.
nuked Phil Spencer's shelter in Fallout 76? Maybe he wasn't the culprit after all. For all
He
these
pressed the
four
button and
Bethesda
said,
studios.
"We got to make this happen." They did this to me.
They're saying he's
You
salty
made me do
online.
this.
He did complete the achievement to be able to acquire your own nuke, to be able to potentially nuke the guy that nuked him. So, yeah, I mean, that's definitely been a conversation online. People are getting very mad about this new leadership when it comes to Microsoft gaming. There have been reports online with former employees of Xbox that say this is not the Xbox that we stood by when we first launched this product. But, it's going to be very interesting how this moves forward because as you were suggesting, HenricK, as we were reading the comments, Microsoft had also been building this store in anticipation of companies like Apple and Google being forced to open up their mobile app stores. And a lot of this is happening because of the shakeout in Europe when it comes to the Digital Markets Act. So, they're not waiting. I think that's a very intriguing move. I believe that it is the right one. I would not be waiting for lawmakers to decide whether, Apple or Google is creating a monopoly and whether it's right or wrong for them to be able to launch a web-based mobile store to be able to funnel the funding to go their way. What do you say about all that?
Maybe it's going to make them money at the end of the day, but like you were saying, this is not the Xbox that it was at the beginning of Xbox, because you had titles like Halo, which they still think is their like flagship face of Xbox. They use Master Chief's likeness for a lot of promotional material all the time. But has there really been a good Halo game in a long time? No, because they've been focusing on other things that make them more money, like mobile games, as we're seeing now. And it's disappointing because a lot of people became fans of Xbox through their really popular IPs that they had through the Xbox and Xbox 360 era, and even I'd say into the Xbox One era. But this generation that they've been through, they've completely lost to PlayStation 5 in terms of sales. And where do they turn to instead then for their numbers? Mobile gaming, because we make money there.
But they also did just report that, even the PlayStation 5 is seeing a slight drop when it comes to purchasing that console. And, we do have a perfect segue to kind of maybe debate this even further, HenricK, because, teens, they're definitely embracing more of the mobile and less of the console. Actually, that's not really even fair to say. It's more of they'll do both compared to, our generation, which I'm a little bit more fixated towards going to a console and playing on my controller.
I'd say the same
you're
thing for
fixated, like going to your keyboard and mouse, playing PC gaming. They're willing to play on a small device. Does that shock anybody? I mean, shit, we were playing with smaller screens. It was called a Game Boy Color, okay? So,
well, this is also the generation that grew up with smartphones and iPads and, access to that very frequently at that as well. Whereas you and I, Chris, we didn't grow up with smartphones. I didn't.
But doesn't it even feel
like 2014?
But mobile gaming seems like it's being more embraced more than ever now. I mean, especially since in the last month and even this week alone, they finally dropped another emulator where you can start playing some PlayStation games. And it's jumped to the charts, and that's got to freak the hell out of Xbox and Sony. And I already know Nintendo's are like, man, now you guys finally feel how
now
we've been
you know how
for years. And that's why everybody's trying to get into cloud gaming and try to protect their product. And that's why, like we've explored it in the past, like why is video games so hard to even be accessible? Well, they're not gonna just hand it out to everybody. They don't want it to be like a free flow online. That's why you gotta go to some random library and go access some game that's not even available on the global web. But anyways, HenricK, break it down. This is very very interesting survey.
So Pew Research Center recently held a survey where it asked teens in the US questions about video games. And we do have a little bit of their statements here. And you can see that 40% of gamers identify as a game, or teens identify as gamers. 45% also play games but don't identify as a gamer. And 15%, they don't play video games. But that means that 85% of them are playing video games.
Exactly. I mean,
whether they say it or not.
Well, yeah. I mean, when you look at this, I mean, you might be wondering, watching online, right? I'm sure you're thinking the same thing, HenricK. Does this surprise anybody? Are you surprised when you look at this first chart?
the industry has become so mainstream and widespread that it's actually kind of weird now to not play video games in a sense because you're the odd one out, as this chart shows.
What's even more accessible? You think about it, like mobile gaming. Everybody's got a phone nowadays, and the games
Yeah.
are a lot better than what we experienced with the 16-bit. But like you were also saying as well. I mean, that's very, very interesting to see that 1 in 4 teens play video games on a VR headset.
Hmm.
With most teams playing on a gaming console or a smartphone. That's did that kind of shock you in a sense?
No, considering that mobile gaming
No,
has had such a huge rise,
but
it
I mean
is
like the
actually
overall
surprising it hasn't
chart, like
surpassed gaming consoles
nothing that
yet.
you see in this chart didn't shock you. Like the VR sounds right to
Oh, well,
you
the
because
VR, sure, yeah,
I
because I think
I'm
VR is one of those
sure
things
we
still
definitely
that,
gotta have some comments that are like, really, the VR? Like, how
yeah.
parents are actually
Well,
buying VR
considering
headsets for their
VR
kids?
especially still feels kind of gimmicky, it's almost something you buy and then it goes and sits on a shelf for the rest of its
Yeah,
lifespan.
like I'm like the worst person right now. Like I was supposed to hype that. I was supposed to let the comment really kind of showcase that first. So we might as well dive into it because they were pouncing on the moment. Reddit users, gamers online, they were like, dude, what is up with this survey? And the first comment that we got here is more people play video games than you think. Only last week I found out that even my manager is a big strategy gamer. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
why are you judging
I
people,
mean,
dude?
strategy games are for specific people,
Yeah.
demographic of people, and that manager decided, hey, this is my jam. I like
This
this.
is my go-to, man. The video game industry makes more money than the movie, music, and book industries combined. Those are such small numbers. What's incredible is that it makes more money than the porn industry. I mean, that is kind of funny. I've never spent a single cent on porn. I mean, porn is for free. So the fact that anybody is paying for porn, you are out of your goddamn mind. But yes, that is a great point.
I
We
mean,
all spend a lot of pennies
you've
on video
been
games.
you've been saying this for the longest time, basically since I've known you, that it makes more money than all of these industries combined, minus the porn,
Yeah,
because
minus the point. That's
you haven't
true. I
mentioned that one.
I never really referenced that, but maybe I need to start saying that.
Hey, maybe you got to add that in.
What devices do teens play video games on? 24% play them on virtual reality headsets such as Oculus, MetaQuest, or PlayStation VR. Kind of intriguing too that PlayStation VR is kind of dumping, moving forward with video games. But anyways, I don't know how this study was conducted, but right there I could tell it's worthless. So some people are like, really, dude? Like, really? How do they get this?
Yeah, like, does this actually matter now? Because that looks wrong.
Yeah, like he's saying, I'm not saying none of this is valid or invalid, but this seems like a puff piece to me. Gamers don't like being told with statistics in front of their face. Like, when you go to stream video games, do you like that countdown, in the corner? I don't like to know how long I've been playing the video game on stream. Get that out of my face. Spend 10 minutes playing a multiplayer VR game and you will see this like a true statistic, likely a true statistic. That could be a fair
I'd
point.
actually be interested to see how true it maybe is based on, maybe people really are playing VR games, but they're not necessarily saying, "Oh, VR sucks." Like these
Yeah,
people
it's not
are,
like the
which is
go-to.
the vocal minority is going to say VR sucks right now.
Yeah, it's a niche. It's like you were joking last week when we were talking about Vallejo Racer and they want to become the new future of road trips, but it always seems weird when they try to implement VR experiences. It's like, why don't you just stick to the headset first before you start jumping ship and start doing, like other
Gimmicky stuff.
Yeah, really gimmicky. And the last comment that we got here is, can't forget one of the biggest groups of gamers, bored moms with Candy Crush. Dog, this is a survey about teens, 13 to 17, but that's true. Thank the Lord my mom has no idea what Candy Crush is. To keep playing your solitaire, and this family will stay afloat. No, I'm just kidding. I love you, Mom. Thanks for tuning in. But anyways, HenricK, I was kind of breaking that down. You kind of got me a little flabbergasted when you were looking at that stat and you were like, I'm not surprised that 1 in 4 teens play video games. I mean, maybe we dismissed video games in VR. Like, now I'm starting to wonder, maybe we dismissed this trend way too soon.
Well, we probably would be more likely to dismiss it based on what we know about VR and how, like we keep saying, it's just kind of gimmicky. It's something that I feel like a lot of people, maybe not all everyone, but a lot of people who have VR headsets, they've bought it. They were like, "Oh, this is really cool," and then the hype kind of dies, and you realize, "Oh, maybe I should either sell this, or maybe it's just gonna sit on my shelf for the next
But
couple
you
years."
do start to see more clips going online, because everybody's revisiting Fallout and they got the mods. And I don't know about you, but some of the cooler mods have been showing up on the virtual reality headsets for that video game. Or I
But
start
that's
thinking
the
of,
key word right there. It's a mod. It's
But what
not
about-
an official thing.
but what about, Assassin's Creed? A lot of people jumped on that experience and said, there's a few things that kind of still feel a bit out of place. It's not always going to be as perfect as of right now, but I'm thinking about the new exclusive that's going to be coming out on MetaQuest 3, and that's the Batman Arkham Shadow. I mean, I got so freaking excited that I thought it was dropping on the console, and I know I might be finessed by the cinematic trailer, but I'm just saying, it looks so badass. I was like a little depleted, HenricK, when it said
Well, just
only on
temper your
VR.
expectations,
Oh,
I
I
guess,
was
based on the
like,
fact that it's
dang it.
VR.
And I wanted to get a VR, but then that's the thing. I don't really want to pay for a headset. I don't want to pay for the $300.
It can be pretty
or $400.
expensive, yeah.
Very expensive. And, even the Vision Pro, was that a surprise to anybody? No one's buying it. It's too
that
expensive.
also, it being so expensive, was wild to not have games on it. Like, you're gonna make me spend $3,500 on a headset that I could just use as my desktop
Yeah.
or a phone? Come on!
Well, it makes
I wanna
me
play
laugh
games
too.
on this.
Yeah.
The hardware
Or
is
like,
cool.
you ever seen like the video of like, where I bet I have it right now. Maybe not so bad, but you get like Jinxie, with like with the your headset, and
where
it's
the hair kind of like
like
deflates your hair.
Yes, exactly, like an indent. Everybody
Yeah.
bitches and moans that the VR is so heavy on the head. So can you imagine, would it change your skull? Like, I don't know. I need a friend. Like, can someone help me, know whether that happens to you? Like, we will not know any of these findings until you, the Generation A, start embracing VR
It won't
headsets
be
beyond
hat
1
hair.
and 4.
It'll be VR headset hair.
That's right. But man, this has been such a great show, and we want to thank everyone for tuning into Rage Quit Video Game Talk Show. And make sure you hit the subscribe and like button so you never miss a live show. So here's the QR code to my YouTube channel, where I'm always constantly posting new interviews, micro content, and so much more. So it would mean the world. You, the gamers out there, would subscribe to my YouTube channel.
And go ahead and hit this QR code, and you'll go to my YouTube channel, where I post memes, clips about games. Go like, comment, subscribe, join the discussions, and stay tuned, because more is on the way.
Yes, indeed. And I know you have a very special stream happening later tonight. So what's going down, HenricK the Wreck?
I swear I didn't sign any content creator contract for this, but I am playing Marvel Rivals tonight on my YouTube channel. So stay tuned for that. Go join in. Say what you want about the game.
Yeah,
we
will be watching with the close eye, because I saw your eyes wide open. I try to help you out. If you were blinking twice and being held hostage, you needed to let me know then. I'm not gonna feel bad after. So if something happens, HenricK, that's on you, young man. That's not on me.
Well, if something does happen, you know what's up.
Yeah, actually, I need to know what's up. You're my homeboy. I need my co-host for next week on Rage Quit Video Game Talk Show. So anybody that doesn't know, always join us live every Wednesday at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. But for now, enjoy the rest of the week, fam. Go call your mom and dad. Make friends with your neighbor. Go outside. Never touch grass. And play video games for the rest of the weekend. We will see you next week.